Hey guys, it's me Dax back with another Tribal Q&A. This one from Anna Shelley, who's asked, I guess there are two parts to this question. The first part being, what do I do, or essentially have I ever found myself going through, kind of, to use language that I teach, going through threats around some of my own transitions, and if so, what was the cause of those threats and what did I do about it? And the second part of the question was about my purpose. Do I find myself with my purpose changing or growing or morphing in any way, right? So I'll answer the first part first, obviously. The first bit, do I ever find myself in threat around my own business transformations and so on and so forth? The answer can only possibly be yes, right? Because we're all human. We all go through struggles, we all have challenges, we all have things that scare us, and kind of decisions that we are or aren't making because they are basically pushing us into a deeper level of threat. Kind of, they're taking us out, as some people would say, outside of our comfort zone, and that certainly happens for me. The areas where it happens most, or traditionally where it's happened in the past, is when I've been maybe changing up, when I've become known as one thing. For the longest time I was a personal trainer, so kind of then switching across to being this guy who then started to teach things like endocrinology. It wasn't a huge jump, but it was enough of a jump, and then kind of moving more into the dietetic side of stuff and the elimination diet side of things. There was another change, and each step of those changes you're asking yourself, well, I wonder what the people that have been following me for X are going to think that I've now moved to Y, for example, right? And then there's all these bullshit stories that we often tell ourselves that, okay, I'm starting over again and I've got to build up tribes and all the rest of it. Well, look, recently, this last few years, my transitions have really been into coaching, right? So I've been a coach for quite a while, and I've considered myself a coach for quite a while, but I've still kept my feet firmly in the Fit Pro camp, and kind of, been dipping my toe in the water with coaches a lot more. But ultimately, it comes down to this. When you are very clear on who you are, what you believe, what your values are, what your bigger life purpose is, and obviously that'll answer the second question in a second. When you're clear on all that kind of stuff, your threats generally tend to be a lot more transient. They don't hang around for very long. And here's why. Because I simply ask myself the really simple question: what am I trying to accomplish here? Do I believe in what I'm trying to accomplish? And then ultimately, well, why the hell wouldn't I bring that forward? Okay, so what am I trying to accomplish? I'm trying to accomplish teaching coaches that there's a more scientific way to be a coach, that moves away from the concept of psychology, concepts based in psychology, and concepts based in kind of, what I call bro science, that kind of the person with the loudest voice and the strongest opinion essentially winning all the arguments around things. And what I'm really motivated by, inspired by, and purposeful about is delivering that. So why the hell would I not do that? Okay, and the only answers I could come up with at the time were, well, I already have my audience over here, this means starting over again over there, right? It's not true. First off, it's not true. A lot of your audience is going to follow you to a lot of different places, and they're gonna stick by you. But here's the other thing: it's never a case of babies and bathwater, right? Just because I've made a transition strictly from Fit Pros across more to coaches, it doesn't mean that I have to kind of stick the middle finger up at all the Fit Pros who've been following me for the last 15 years of my life, and say, well, I'm not your friend anymore, I'm going to play with the life coaches. That's not how it works, right? So you can still, we get ourselves into this mindset of either or, right? It's one of the most common fallacies, and one of the biggest coaching traps people move into is either or thinking, and it can be and. Okay, so, and I think a lot of this comes out of marketing, where marketers very often say to you, you must have a niche, or a niche, as Americans would say, right? You must have this niche, you must have this niche. It's persuaded us to think that actually, well, if I'm going to do that for Fit Pros, I can't really do it for coaches. Or if I'm going to do that thing over there in weight loss, I can't really do this thing over here in sports performance, for example, right? Or if I'm going to do that thing over there in business, I can't do this thing over here in personal development. And guys, it's bullshit. It's very limited thinking. The reality is you can do whatever you damn well please. And here's where kind of a really good business coach would come in. They would simply be supporting you through the process of saying, look, don't try and wear both hats at once with the same audience, right? When go and speak to this group about these things, go and speak to that group about those things, but ultimately do what the hell you want to do. Okay, and this is exactly how I built my career. I've basically done exactly what I want to do. Could I earn more money from the things that I do if I just stayed tight with one niche? Probably. If I just focused on one thing, probably. But my life would be that much poorer. Right, my pockets, my bank account would be that much richer, but my life would be that much poorer. I'm a very complex guy in many ways. Very simple in some ways, but very complex. I have a lot of interests, a lot of passions, a lot of belief in the mark that I want to make in the world, and it would weaken me, and it would take from me to not deliver all of those things. Okay, so I think, Anna, that partly also goes into the second part of the question. Do I find my purpose kind of shifting or changing or transitioning? Yes, but here's the distinction between passion and purpose, right? You've been passionate about so many things in your lifetimes, right? All the people watching this, you've been passionate about football teams and bands and boys and girls and you name it, right? But where does that passion lead you? Very often, years later, you're like kind of embarrassing. Like, did I really do that? Was that really me? Did I really invest a lot of time, effort, money, energy, emotion in that thing? Purpose doesn't do that to you. When you found your purpose, does it get clearer? Does it become more focused? Does it become more explicit? Absolutely. But from or at least the way I look at purpose doesn't change. Once you found it, it never changes. It just refines. You get clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer about who you are and what you're here to do. So my purpose is to make a major, definite impact on the lives of every person I come into contact with by helping them to define, refine, and align with the greatest version of the grandest vision they hold of who they could be in their lives. Okay? Help them define, refine, and align with the greatest version of the grandest vision they hold of who they could be as they go through their lives. That's what my purpose is. And at times I express that through life coaching, if you will. At times I express that through business coaching. At times I express that via helping leaders become more powerful leaders. But ultimately I'm doing the same thing. So do I refine my message for the different people I'm speaking to? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I change my purpose? Never. It just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So, bit of a mad ramble. That just lasted over 7 minutes. I didn't intend it for it to go that long. So I'll get off now, but I hope that answered your question, Anna, and I hope any of the rest of you watching this got something useful out of it. If not, hey, too bad. You've watched it now. Take care. Bye.